It's about 2:30 in the morning where I'm at, so if my voice is strained and trying to keep it quiet, that's probably why. Yeah, we're doing some track reviews. Why not? 2:30 in the morning, let's fucking do some track reviews. But we're looking at the Weeknd's third mixtape, Echoes of Silence. This is the opening track that we're reviewing right now, titled Dee Dee, also known as Dirty Diana, is a cover of Michael Jackson's famous song from the Bad album. It's one of his many just well-renowned singles. Anything from that goddamn album is probably well-renowned. It's like the best-selling album like ever. So, where to even start? Maybe just some of my background with like the original track. Dirty Diana. I'm not a hardcore Michael Jackson person. I'm a casual. I did review one of his albums, but although it wasn't when he was alive when that came out, so it's a little disheartening. Dirty Diana was never one that I was like always coming back to. I remember just listening to the Bad album and I liked it. There's nothing that I was like, oh yeah, this song. I came back to it earlier today. Not his best single, not his worst. I'd probably have to I'd have to re-listen to that whole album to actually like compare it to others. I'm knocking over shit now. But yeah, and then the song, there's a quote from Michael that I read reading the lyrics. It's basically about the lifestyle of a groupie, and he used that word. He's like, I don't want to use that word. Oh, I don't want to use that word, but it is what it is. Yeah, so, and I'm still just knocking over shit. I think the Weeknd, the lyrics almost fit him more than it does Michael. Michael, it seems almost just like a bit of a weird thing to, sing about, but, not like super weird, but, a little left field. Then you got the Weeknd, and this is up his alley with the lyrics, although a lot less, sexual and drug filled and all that type stuff. But the Weeknd, I'm gonna move this so I stop hitting it. Sorry. So how does the Weeknd perform? Spoilers. Echoes of Silence is fucking awesome, and the style he went for this mixtape, he brings it onto this track, and it's very moody. It's very like his vocals on this mixtape are the best Weeknd like vocal performances so far, and I'm saying that as a person who has since just I've been fucking with his discography for these reviews and for my own personal pleasure for a good little while here. Just non-stop Weeknd, but that's how these hopefully after the Weeknd I'll move on to someone else's discography and just keep on going from there. But Echoes of Silence, what I just kind of meant to say is his vocal performances are very interesting here, and just how he's performing this track, it's you just gotta listen to it for yourself. And again, I always encourage you guys to listen alongside me, so you better be doing that. Yeah, I don't think this is like the best song on the mixtape by any means. I know. I mean, if you think it is, that's fine. But for me, one, it's like covers are a weird thing because I'm never gonna listen to the song and not think of Michael Jackson, even this cover. And so I feel it's just kind of like weekends, not weekends, the effect for me, personally. Like I'm always just gonna think of Michael Jackson, Dirty Diana, like the original version. I'm gonna probably just like think, oh, I shouldn't go listen to that now. And it's never gonna just be the Weeknd song, and that's how pretty much all covers are, unless the cover is more famous than the original, which does happen. But yeah, I enjoyed the Weeknd. His Michael Jackson influences. They show on this mixtape more than any of his other shit. I do really enjoy the song. I do. I do, I do, I do. It's a very good song. Damn. I'm trying to think of what to give it. It's somewhere, but I want to do 3 out of 5. I want to do 4 out of 5, but I'm like when I'm stuck between, I usually just bump it up. Or I could do out of 10, 7 or 8 out of 10. Yeah, I think I'll do that, but I'll have to do my bullshit cop out in between number. I'll give Dee Dee, otherwise known as Dirty Diana, an 8 out of 11. It's a very, very good, not like, I don't like super love it, but it's a very good rendition it's a classic song, Dirty Diana. I would say pretty much anything off that goddamn album is gonna be classic to anyone or to some people. I'm already taking too long here. On to track 2. Thank you for watching. Okay, track 2 in the Weeknd's Echoes of Silence. You'll excuse whatever lighting, terribly lit, whatever this is. But I have been putting off this mixtape. I know I did like one track review, a random late night, and this is another random late night, and hopefully I'll get some more track reviews, and I want to get this mixtape out the way, but getting out the way doesn't mean I want to diminish what I have to say about it, because this is probably my favorite Weeknd project that I've reviewed so far. Just looking at the second track, Montreal. I believe, I forget which city the Weeknd grew up in. I know he lived in one city all of his life. And then he, after these 3 projects is when he blew up and went around the world and all that. But that being said, Montreal, this is just another really, really good song, because, again, The Weeknd is no longer in the background, and I think he has the vocal talent, to be at the helm of the song, to be, to be heard clearly, because he has the vocals for it. The lyrics, that's a give and take, flip-flop kind of situation. But in a track like this, the lyrics to this track, basically, there are some parts that are in another language. This is actually because I looked up the lyrics. It samples a song, and I'm not good with samples, obviously, because I'm a noob, but basically the lyrics to the sample describe a girl saying, don't be mean to women because maybe one day they'll leave you, and that's kind of just a simplified version of it. So I appreciate, the Weeknd singing something like that, because, his lyrics his lyrics are all about women, but whether it's, very nice to women is up to debate. So in this song we have The Weeknd, just another amazing instrumental, but very the right kind of reverb, and the right kind of just like voice influences and effects going on there. Just the big heavy drums. I noticed I really like, him being paired with like these really heavy drums. And overall, this track, it's just another example of like this style. Like, um, you know, his future stuff, is great, if not, and probably even better, in my opinion. But, this style, he has a real thing going on with the Echoes of Silence, just the flow and the style he had going for this mixtape. If he had to take it back to this style, I would appreciate that. People get a different style for his other mixtapes, and people may want that, but I I like this style. I think he has something here. And Montreal, second track, I believe there are like 9-10 tracks in this. It's about 4 minutes long. That's about the length of most of the tracks on here, I noticed. Really, I don't have many complaints with it. I will give Montreal an 8 out of 11. It's a really good track. That's all I have to say about it. The next track, I believe, is Outside. I will see you then. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. On to track 3. Right, this is track 3, Echoes of Silence, the silent echoes. And I love the name of that project, by the way, just Echoes of Silence. In this track, it describes another, sexual relationship the Weeknd is having with a girl. I feel like that's almost, like, that, do I even have to say that at this point? Like, almost, that's like the concept for a Weeknd song. It's like, just always a sexual relationship being described. And, in this one, I would like to think Echoes of Silence is not with, multiple women, like the other projects were, although I have no reason to believe that this won't be, but so far I'd like to think this is one girl he's talking about, within these tracks. I guess Thursday, was technically about one girl, when he wasn't, with other women, and then people died. But that is besides the point. In this track, basically there's a girl, she was formerly with a man. He's describing how, like, I think for one, she's not like super like into the Weeknd, who's supposed to be this sexual god of sorts, but she's not feeling it, and they're kind of like reenacting a former relationship she had. It gets a little bit weird, but by the end he says, this is gonna be so fucking good, you're not gonna want to go outside. Kind of a weird, stretch or segue. That being said, the hook is beautiful. I love his low, like the little, I can't even describe it at this point, but whenever, I just can't. But, when he does the little, like, but, like, more, with actual quality, it's very, I love that. Like, just the little things he does, and there's a lot of instruments going on here, and I'm surprised it doesn't sound like a shitty clusterfuck, but it doesn't. It actually sounds like a really well-made track. Again, and again, his hooks are just on point, especially for this mixtape. Same old song, had another really good hook that I just really just like find myself drearily singing along with, like just easy to just kind of hum with. They're made for these dark, quiet nights. Maybe my lighting is fitting. It tells you it's nighttime. It was all a deeper meaning, guys, okay? Shit quality, actually deeper meanings, come on. That's actually the shadow reflecting my inner thoughts of darkness. I'm actually a Sith Lord. That's what this side of my face represents. This is my light side. I just saw Star Wars. Um, um, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Point is, Outside, another really good track. I'll give this one an 8 out of 11 as well. Yeah, I think that'll be it. On to the next track. Alright, so, EXO, the host, the, 2-track. This is one of those. I've reviewed a couple of these where it's 2 tracks in one. I think I've even done it before with The Weeknd. My thoughts are, if that helped the story, it's ultimately a tool, but most often than not, it's like 2 separate tracks that don't really belong together, and they're just paired together, and in this case, I kind of feel they did that, but, we'll get to that. In this track, EXO is basically sort of this, like, kind of anthem to the XO brand. If you don't know, that's kind of the Weeknd's trademark. It stands for ecstasy overdose. But at the same time, it's describing this woman who is, again, The Weeknd. His saying is to, seduce women and to lure them into his shitty lifestyle. And that's what he's doing here. And then the host is sort of this much more slower. It's like EXO is like the big heart pumping upper, and then this is kind of like the slow downer that's like the seductive snap your fingers to thing. And the host, concept wise, is kind of just like the prelude to the next track, Initiation. It even has some of the same lyrics from Initiation, and I fucking love Initiation. That is probably my favorite track, and I've listened to this mixtape a couple times because a lot of times when I'm at work, I try to, whatever my next review project is, I put it on, and before I, look at the lyrics and do these track reviews, I listen to it on loop, and that's what I did with this, and just, while I'm working. At least that's what I was doing. And usually I never made it to the host because I thought EXO, it was kind of the most unneeded track, for me at least. It was just like, and you can't say it like EXO, you gotta say it like XO, but the reason, I don't know, I just wasn't ever feeling EXO to the point where I stuck around really. Most times I skipped it, and I think again because I just saw that 7 minutes mark, and I was reminded by The Weeknd's other longer tracks that aren't really as good as this one. And I was like, okay, let's not do that. But the host actually, I really enjoyed it, and I kind of like this identical concept thing to Initiation, and it was weird just to hear the lyrics to Initiation, which has that whole vocal pitch thing going on. It was weird to just hear it kind of this like slow sensual ballad. It was very interesting. That being said, EXO, I don't know which one I like more. They're kind of about the same, but again, we are reading the track as a whole, and ultimately, I think it's a good track. I do think they should have been separate, because why are they together? I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, I'll give this one a 3 out of 5. Good track. They're both. I would probably give them both if they were separate. Both 3 out of 5. And Initiation is next, I believe. Very excited for that. That being said, thank you for watching. On to the next track. Alright, big track for me personally. This is Initiation track. What are we, 4 on Echoes of Silence? 4 or 5? And one thing that really caught my attention with this track, and really has had it on repeat for me, is what it does with Abel's vocals, and that being there's just the pitch changes. basically it goes from a high pitch to low pitch and very like very just the transitions between the high and low, they flow very well. And I I don't know, I think that's just something I really like in music. When the just pitch shifts, I really like pitch shifts. And just, I don't know, just people oh, here's like a song, but it's just like nightcore and shit like that, where it's like, oh, let's just flip the vocals to make them seem way heavier or more high pitched. But normally that's not something that um, even sounds appealing, because usually people just flip a button and it flips the entire song, and that's not exactly. I mean, it can sound great or even better. I appreciate listening to a song where it takes that idea and just does it to the vocals, and it sounds so badass. And he flows so well with the instrumentals. It's like just that boom 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 that boom boom. I love it. I hate how I butcher songs. Was why just that OVO and that XO. Um, and the pitch thing is supposed to be represented within the track. Basically, that's supposed to be him shifting between drugs that give him more of that kind of aesthetic. And what is this track about? It's I don't I don't love the concept, but again, this is supposed to be a dark, really twisted, kind of fucked up story. Um, and again, it's fiction. And so let's try not to get too worked up. But it's basically kind of about initiating this girl to be kind of gangbanged by the Weeknd and his boys. The boys, um, they're on rap or on Genius. It basically says it could either mean boys, could mean his actual boys, his like fraternity, whatever the hell, or it could just mean his large compliments of drugs. And it probably doesn't mean drugs just by the lyric choices and just even the fucking. I never saw it because he uploads all his shit to YouTube, and he always has that like picture. And the picture for this one is just like him and two dudes, and they all just look like. And it's kind of, I don't know. I bugged at that picture. Cause I never would have guessed that was the picture. I did know the lyrics kind of early on. I was like, wait, is this about? And I was like, oh god, it is. Does the do the concepts as dark and like eerie and just kind of sick as they are? Do they ruin it for me? No, cause like in with film and all these other stuff we watch, these terrible things. I kind of wish there was a silver lining with the Weeknd. Like, maybe he'll learn something, or he'll. I mean, it does seem like we're kind of like through each mixtape so far, we kind of like get on a different path. And I kind of just wish there was like an idea, some that were growing from this, because the dark stories. Usually they have something to gain from it. And music, I understand, is completely different means, completely different media, but it's like, I don't know. I really enjoy this track though for what it is, and I love that style and just the vocal changes, and that OVO and that XO. Another lyric choice, OVO and that XO, is kind of supposed to represent the crew, and so it's not about drugs when he means that. Although that would explain the he's like on drugs for all the tracks, so like that pitch thing makes sense even if he's whatever. In that picture, he looked so wasted. He was just like, I don't know. That picture got me. Cause on the House of Balloons and shit, it was just like always they wouldn't show his face, and he'd be like kind of like mysteriously hidden, and it'd be like very subtle. But then it was just like with his two fucking friends. But that really didn't change how like dark it felt, and like that picture was scary. Um, ah, like this song has such a dark backdrop, and it's like scary. Like I actually like feel like a little bit like, oh my god, this is so dark and But yeah, that's Initiation. It's such a it gets me. I think that's why I really enjoy it. Is one, it sounds so cool, and two, it gets me. Uh, I really just like feel just like under my skin, and just kind of like really uncomfortable. Like that's how music doesn't get me, just uncomfortable. And this song did it. I don't know if that's an achievement, but I guess it is. I'm gonna give Initiation a 5 out of 5. I really enjoy this track. Mostly again just for that pitch change stuff and just that flow and just that. This song goes really fast and I really like that. That being said, I'm trying to remember the next track. I just hope it's a little less dark and that's maybe a little less fucked up subject matter. Probably not. But I will see you on that track. GCJ, what are you doing? Same old song. This is basically what the song is. It's sort of another like slow, kind of like this nice ballad. I really love the hook on here. I believe I said that earlier in the video. But yeah, I really just love the hook because it's like this very just high volume, powerful hook. Concept wise, it's about this girl who he was in a former relationship with, and now both him and his character have become famous. And this girl is coming up to him now that he's famous, and is, there's conflict there. And, he's kind of like a little bit immature, just throwing all of this on the fact that, I'm famous now. This is why you want to come back. Which, in all honesty, is probably the reason why. And she probably wouldn't be coming back if he wasn't famous. Looking up the lyrics here on my handy dandy phone of Batman. It was a pretty simplistic lyrically song. And then we had I think this track was meant to be filler. I don't know if he even like appreciated the song afterward, but I think it was meant to be filler. But to me it really wasn't. But then you had Juicy J on the outro of this thing, breaking almost like the fourth wall like of this song. I would do without this outro, or at least do it on a different song that isn't as awesome as this one. But you got Juicy J just like breaking the context of this song, like just jumping in on it, like the song that is like in the middle of like kind of like, I don't know, the sort of atmosphere and tone that we worked so hard to set, and he just comes in here, look at this man. He sounds amazing right now. When he makes music, girls' panties get wet. I'm going to the strip club. I'm throwing $30,000. Spend that shit. It's Christmas. What? What? I don't understand whose choice that was. Maybe the Weeknd was just psyched to have Juicy J around. I don't fucking know. Either way, that was a weird choice. But I'll go with it. Fuck it. I still love the track. That's only like 15 seconds. And it, reminds me that this came out around Christmas. However many years ago. And yeah, I really do love this track just because again, we have the drums, just the guitars, just the dark grittiness, and it's right next to Initiation. It's number 6, Initiation 5, probably my two favorites back to back. Then then again, but we actually have a good amount to choose from with this mixtape. I love that fact because before with the other mixtapes, it was like okay songs with some nice highlights. This is like highlights with a couple okay. Like I haven't found an okay. I haven't reviewed an okay one yet. I do know I don't like one of them, so we'll maybe get to that one. But yeah, damn. I don't know what else to say. I really enjoy this one. I like how he will lead up to a big chorus. I like when he does that. Um, where it's kind of like a nice slow it gets atmospheric, but then he'll be like raising it up, and then the big sexy big sexy chorus. Um, I really like the style here, and just when he does that, and that's what we did here. And I, I think I listened to the song like 10 times in a row one time, and it was not diminished in quality once. I will give Same Old Song a 4 out of 5. I love this one. That being said, I forget which one's next. The Fall? I could be wrong. We'll find out when we get to it. On to the next track. Alright, we are reviewing The Fall. I'm losing my voice a little bit. This track, I really enjoy it. It's kind of just fitting. If I'm not talking more about the instrumental side of things, it's because a good amount of these tracks are doing the same thing. If I was doing an album review, it would be a little bit easier, but if I was just saying, oh, he's doing the atmospheric and the drums and blah, 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 I'm repeating myself a lot. So that's why I try to stick with concepts. Concept of this song is The Fall is referencing what every artist must eventually face, and that is the complete, I guess, lack of people like forget about you, you lose your money, all that stuff. And so The Weeknd says a very inspiring line in the hook that I think is of like these are the lyrics he should be going for. When he's trying to do a less scary song. The line is I'm not afraid of the fall because I've already been there, except a little bit more poetic, I guess. Is I forget exactly how it goes, but he says that's why I'm not scared of the fall. And he kind of says the fall like someone's like kind of asking him about it, in the sense that he's like, I'm not afraid of the fall. And he says the fall like it will one day happen. It has an inevitability to it. And yeah, again, just another really killer hook. This one again, just great use of his vocals, just the way he's going at it. I love it, and that's really all I have to say about this one. It's the lyrics do have like callbacks to Thursday. He has a line about his mom that kind of really resonated with me. Like just like this one got a little bit more personal and kind of didn't really break the fourth wall, but like we saw the double, like, oh, this means this for your character, and this kind of actually means this for you as the person behind the music. I'll give The Fall a 4 out of 5. It's a great track. Yeah, I really love it. Yeah, on to the next one. And next up we have Next. Oh, wordplay. Get it? Next up we have Next. Fuck me. Anyway, in this track, it's a kind of another mid-tempo sort of, it's kind of like The Fall in terms of just like the sound and the like speed, I guess. Cause I think that's another big change to this mixtape. I like it's going a little bit faster. And then we have like some slower songs like the title track, which and what's another one? Maybe like Dirty Diana. The cover. I'm not so sure. I'd have to think about it. But in this track, the idea is, when he says next, he means basically he's like in this game so far and there's this woman coming along and she wants him because he's next. And at first I thought the lyrics were, you only want me because I'm bad, which is a very different lyric from you only want me because I'm next. At first I was like, what? But yeah, I prefer the next lyric. And with the next lyric, it means this girl basically, she just wants the next biggest thing, and obviously, she's a negative influence over the Weeknd because he's like, I can't. He's like, I'm in this too far, and I think she's enticing him to one, obvious sexual stuff, and two, to get back on drugs, and there is lines indicating he is off of drugs, which is, this is like a kind of a character reversal thing we got going on here, where she's enticing him, and this is sort of a shift a little bit for the Weeknd, who just a couple tracks ago was like just on so many drugs, but I like to see that his character is at least maybe trying to get off drugs. I like to think I assume the man behind the music, I don't know his whole drug situation, but he was on drugs. Or at least I really hope so, compared to how much music he writes about it. But yeah, in the track, he's basically just kind of like, I can't do this. And I think the track really exceeds its runtime. It's like 5-6 minutes, and there's like a long closing thing with just this piano slowly dying out, which is fine. It all sounds great, but it's like, we could have, I don't know, cut that time out a little bit, because I was really starting to feel it by the end of the track. And I usually do every time I hear it. I'm just like, God damn, this one's going for a while. But that being said, I still love the track. I love the style. The instrumentals to all these are really great. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Next, I will give a 4 out of 5. It is a great track. Yeah, and I think that's it. I look like I've been doing drugs, but I haven't. I'm just really fucking tired. But I look the part for this video. Yay. What was I about to say? Next, we'll move on to the next track. Wordplay. Do we have one track left? I think we might. I will see you then. Thank you for watching. This is Echoes of Silence. The final track, titled also Echoes of Silence. And I do love this project. I really do. And sometimes there's a rare case when you love a certain project and there's a hole. And in this project, this is the hole. And music, it's sometimes weird because albums are separated into these little things. And it's like, oh, why do we have to have this little hole? I used and still do listen to music just for this song. Sometimes if I see a song I don't like in a project, I just want to listen to it. And sometimes that is something we do nowadays. But sometimes when we do that, we forget the bad, and we just only remember the good, and we think this person's the genius or whatever. Echoes of Silence, lyrically I have no problem with it. It describes a sort of, I'm not sure which lyrics are actually Abel slash The Weeknd, which are this girl. Basically, they have an indifference on whether they want to see each other anymore. And basically, it kind of ends with either Abel or the girl asking, "Won't you be with me?" And the answer is silence. Meaning the mixtape name echoes of silence, where it suddenly starts to make sense a little bit. And there are multiple ways you can interpret the song, interpret those lyrics, interpret the name. I'm just gonna leave it at that because in the end, I ultimately don't really even care. This is just one track, and ultimately, I don't give that much of a shit about it because it's really returning to The Weeknd's old style, and not in a good way. It's returning to his voice being in the background is very melancholy, a little bit over dramatic. Kind of asking for your sympathy a little bit, like kind of trying to kind of like pander to like a sensitive side when we had songs like Initiation, and we're gonna try to it feels kind of wrong almost. And this is kind of like the worst way I thought this mixtape could have ended. And like when the first time I listened to this, I had like a feeling. I was like, why do I feel like we're gonna get this eventually? And we did, and it was in the closing track once we had all that goodness out the way. And I'm sorry, you're free to always like the song. Um, Looking up the lyrics, I saw a lot of conversations on people just interpreting the lyrics, and I really do appreciate that. That being said, I just cannot dig this track. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10, which does mean I kind of hate it a little bit. And I don't. You may you might say, "Oh, really? That's kind of out of nowhere." I'm like I was like trying. I was like, "Oh, I shouldn't be too hard on it," but that's not honest. I honestly just kind of hate this track a little bit, kind of just for what it is and just how it presented itself. So in the end, yeah, I kind of hated it a little bit. But that being said, wipe that bullshit clean. Echoes of Silence. I hope you enjoyed this our little track reviews that we did here tonight. And what we have some more Weeknd projects coming up, but Echoes of Silence, very great mixtape. I loved how some of the songs on here and how it was, how it was constructed with certain instrumentals and vocal choices and stuff like that. And yeah, thank you for so much for watching. It means the world to me. I love doing these track reviews. And yeah, stay tuned for the future. Hope you enjoyed what we got across here today. And yeah, thank you so much. With that, I leave you.